Greetings, my dear fellow fans of the macabre, and welcome to the Hellhound Review Show, where every day is Halloween. My last episode, I reviewed Dead Alive, aka Brain Dead, which is directed by Peter Jackson and filmed in New Zealand, and I did a blind review. Unplanned, totally unscripted. No research done or anything. I just picked a random DVD off the shelf and reviewed it the best I could from memory, without have watched it recently or had it fresh in my mind. And also spent like 5 minutes talking about the newest Ninja Turtles cartoon and all the various 80s horror references it has, which I think is too cool. Such as the episode where April O'Neil's mother mutates into a Krang creature, which kind of resembles the possessed Henrietta's final form in Evil Dead 2, among several others. All kinds of 80s horror references. For more info on that, watch my Dead Alive video. But I'm not going to waste any time today. I'm going to do another blind review. Just going to pick another DVD off the shelf. I don't know what it is yet. I guess you do, because by the time you're watching this, I'll already had a title and everything. So, what movie should I review? What do you think? Let me take a look, and I'll be right back with you. Let's see here. Okay. How about Pet Sematary? That's a good one, right? Based on the excellent Stephen King novel, which was far superior to the movie adaptation, but I won't spend the whole review comparing the two or talking about how much better the book is. I'm just going to focus on the movie adaptation that's in, and I'll talk about the sequel a little bit as well. But let's get started. Yeah, I'm totally unprepared. I haven't really had much time to plan any videos out either. I've been really busy lately with work and stuff, so. Well, let's see how I do reviewing this, just going by what I know and, not having it fresh in my mind or anything. Alright, well, here we go. Pet Sematary. It's released in 1989, directed by Mary Lambert, or I think it's actually pronounced Lambier, like the actor Christopher Lambier. She also directed the second one too, I believe. I think she was known for mostly music videos at this point, if I remember correctly. Again, no research done here, just all going by, all improvising. Anyway, the premise is that a family of four, mom, dad, and two kids, a young boy and a girl, moved to Ludlow, Maine. A lot of Stephen King's work takes place in Maine, where he's from, and they befriend an elderly neighbor, Judd Crandall, played by Fred Gwynne. He's best known as Herman Munster from the excellent Munsters TV series, which I just love. Fred Gwynne's always been kind of a favorite of mine. He's a really good actor. I love watching him. That accent he does in this movie. You don't want to bury it there. No, I know what you're thinking. Don't do it. There's a curse on that burial ground. He's just awesome. Rest in peace, Fred Gwynne. He was great. But anyway, the dad is played by Dale Midkiff Jr. I think that's his name. Again, totally unresearched. So if I'm making any mistakes, I apologize, but I'm just going by what I remember. The young son, Gage, they're the Creeds, by the way, the Creed family. Louis Creed, Dale Midkiff, the youngest boy, Gage. That was the kid from New Nightmare. Oh man, his name escapes me at the moment. It's right at the tip of my tongue. I'm sure I'll think of it later. Gage Creed. He was a lot younger here. Later on, he played in New Nightmare. He was Heather Langenkamp's son in that movie. What was his name? As soon as I turn the video off, I'm going to think of it. Oh, it's not that important. I don't remember the actress who plays the daughter, and I don't really remember what the chick's name who plays the mom either. Yeah. Anyway, the important thing is it's a family of four. They move to Maine. They befriend Judd Crandall, Fred Gwynn's character. And he tells them about a local cemetery where broken-hearted children bury, their dead pets. It's a pet cemetery. They even wrote a little sign, and it's misspelled that way. They didn't spell cemetery right because they're kids. I always thought that was kind of cool. And like up the hill, a little ways from the cemetery, is an ancient Indian burial ground, which supposedly will bring the dead back to life. Anything that's buried there will come back as a zombie. Judd's telling the story to Lewis after he tells about somebody buried their dog there and it came back, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't quite the same. It was like now an evil, demonic dog. It wasn't their beloved pet that they had before. It changed. It's possessed by ancient spirits or something. The book goes a lot more in depth, by the way. There's a lot left out, but again, I'm not gonna talk about the book too much here. I'm just gonna focus on the movie. Maybe save that for another review. Maybe I'll review the book someday. There's a lot of Stephen King novels I like to review a little bit eventually. But anyway, so the family cat, whose name is Winston Churchill, but they call it Church for short. I forgot to mention there's a really brutal road that's in front of their house with all kinds of trucks constantly going by. Their cat gets hit by one of the trucks. Judd Crandall is the one who tells Lewis about it. They don't want their daughter Ellie to be brokenhearted about the loss of the cat, so he doesn't tell his wife Rachel. He doesn't tell anybody, but him and Judd go and bury the cat in the Indian burial ground. Judd tells Lewis it'll come back to life. I don't think Lewis really believes him at first, but they bury it. It comes back to life, and it's just an evil, creepy cat with glowing reddish eyes, and he's just constantly seems like he's constantly stalking Lewis. He's always scaring him, like when he's in the bathtub and just everything. He's just a creepy, evil cat. I'm not sure why Judd wanted to do that. I mean, wouldn't it just been easier to explain to their daughter, the cat ran away, or even be truthful. Just be honest. Say the cat died. Better than your cat. Is some evil zombie cat. But whatever. I'm so glad they did that because it's cool. And so I don't think these are really spoilers, by the way, because you kind of in order to really talk about the movie to it justice, I'm gonna have to tell you the basic plot and what happens. I guess don't watch the rest of this review if you don't want too much given away. But I think it's pretty obvious it's a human's gonna get buried in the cemetery. I mean, come on, we all know that's coming. But anyway, unfortunately, Gage ends up getting hit by one of the trucks as well. Very devastating, very emotional, heartfelt, powerful scene. Lewis Creed just screams no. It shows pictures of Gage when he was first born and all kinds of stuff. It's really, really heartbreaking. Really sad. I don't like when kids die in movies. So Lewis and Rachel and their other child Ellie, they're all just devastated. They're all just totally distraught of the loss of Gage. And then Judd, he was there when it happened too at the picnic right before he was struck by the truck. I'm sorry. And so I think we know where this is going. So despite Judd's protests and warnings, Lewis doesn't listen and goes and buries poor young Gage in the pet cemetery. And of course, he comes up like he's an evil zombie child. I mean, we all knew that was coming. I guess I won't give away anything else. I won't give away what happens at the end. It's a pretty kind of a twist, kind of a shocking ending. All kinds of crazy stuff. There's also a helpful ghost named Paxcal. He was a patient. Lewis is something of a doctor, and he was a patient that Lewis was trying to save. I guess he got hit by he was in some kind of accident as well, and so he wasn't able to save him. But he comes back as a ghost. He tries to warn the family about the burial ground. He tries to help them the best he can. He follows Rachel around. She's over visiting her parents, I believe. I think her and Ellie are both over there with the grandparents. Again, going by memory. I actually haven't watched this in a few years. I'm actually surprised I remembered all the names and stuff. But what can I say? This is my thing. So, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. Pascal's helping him. So, and now we got, an evil zombie kid. That's pretty much the plot. It's a ancient Indian burial ground that brings the dead back to life, all but much more sinister and malevolent than before. Just evil forces at work here. So zombie cat, a zombie kid, and then there's a little more that happens toward the end, but I won't spoil it, just in case you haven't watched this yet. I highly recommend this movie, though. It's great. So yeah, well, the scariest scenes actually involve flashbacks. The wife and mom, Rachel Creed, talks about her sister Zelda, who had spinal meningitis and died when Rachel was just a little girl. And oh my God, Zelda was actually played by a man because they couldn't find a woman skinny enough to play the part. It shows the flashbacks and everything. And I can't remember that actor's name, Andrew something. The actor who played Zelda was Andrew something. They had like a kind of a unique last name. But that's not too important. But yeah, Zelda scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. I watched this when I was really young. Zelda freaked me out. She was friggin' scary. She looked really creepy. She was really, really gaunt and just bony and just, very, very creepy woman. She'd say, Rachel! Oh, gosh, she was scary. And she returns as a ghost in this movie as well. So there's two ghosts, Pascal and Zelda. Zelda was just freaking terrifying, and she wasn't even really part of the main plot, really. They could have... They talked about it a lot more in the book too, by the way. But again, not going to compare here. They left out the Wendigo and the Indian spirit in the woods and all that stuff. But no, I'm not going to get into that. Sorry. Zelda was terrifying, and she really had nothing to do. The plot, they could have cut her character and that all those flashbacks out. It wouldn't really made a difference to the movie, other than to make it a lot scarier. Because that's really the only part that truly freaked me out when I was probably like 4 or 5 when I saw this for the first time. Oh God, Zelda gives me the creeps. She actually wasn't as scary as a ghost because she talked a little bit. She told Rachel, "It's like Gage and I will get you." Her evil zombie nephew that she died way before he was born. She was just scary, and she would always be, she was just. You just gotta see it to know what I mean. All right, I talked about Zelda enough. Terrifying. Watch the movie. You'll see. Well, that's the main premise of Pet Sematary, and I don't think I really have any issues with it. The young daughter, Ellie Creed, she whines and cries a bit too much for my liking, but she's a kid. It's understandable. She pretty much sobs throughout the whole movie, even before Gage dies. But, what can you do? Yeah, great movie. Excellent score, too. The soundtrack, it was composed by Elliot Goldenthal. I think he was the one that did the Batman Forever soundtrack as well, if I remember correctly. But anyway, that's Pet Sematary. It comes highly recommended from your old buddy Hellhound. Check it out immediately if you haven't already. I'll talk a little bit about Pet Sematary 2. Now, there was never a sequel to the novel. This one's just a standalone. It's not based on a Stephen King book or any book for that matter. It's just a sequel to the movie. It's its own story. There's a lot of references to the original. They do mention the Creed family and, the tragedy that happened to them and everything. This one stars Edward Furlong, the kid from Terminator 2. He was also in American History X, and more recently, the fourth Crow movie, The Crow Wicked Prayer, which kind of sucked. Unfortunately, he's gotten bad into drugs recently. He looks really rough, but he was one of my favorite child actors, probably. But it stars him. His mom died in a tragic accident. She was an actress, and a freak accident resulted in her untimely death, and so him and his dad moved to Ludlow, where the previous tragedy took place. I think this is set like maybe 5 or 6 years later. Came out in '92. I'm guessing that's when it takes place too. Mario Lambert returned to direct too, though. I think I already mentioned that. But just him and his dad, played by Anthony Edwards. Yeah, Anthony Edwards from the first 2 Revenge of the Nerds movies. I love those movies. But him and his dad moved to Ludlow. he's kind of bullied by, he's bullied by the kid who, by the guy who played one of the kids on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I can't remember his name right now, but yeah, he's kind of picked on. People, talk about his mom. He's just going through heartache because his mom died, and he's just really broken up about it. Understandably, he befriends this kid right here, who was part of that previous bully that I mentioned. He was like part of his little group or whatever. And his this kid's dad is played by the one and only Clancy freaking Brown. Clancy Brown plays Gus. That guy Drew, I think his name. Drew's stepdad. And he's just friggin' awesome. He's the best part of the movie. I love Clancy Brown. He was awesome in the first Highlander movie as the Kurgan, and just countless others. He was in the recent Nightmare on Elm Street remake as well. He's been in a lot of my favorite movies. He's just always awesome. I love him in everything he's in. Shawshank Redemption and all that. He's just always great. He's the best part of the movie. He's kind of the antagonist, I guess you could say. He's an abusive stepdad, but he's really awesome after he's buried in the cemetery. He comes back as a zombie. Oh, gosh, yeah. What starts, it sets in motion the events of the movie is like, Jeff, that's Edward Furlong's character's name. Jeff and his dad, Chase, played by Anthony Edwards. After they move there, trying to get over the loss of Jeff's mother, they hear all kinds of stories about the cemetery and about what happened to the Creeds and everything. Drew's dog, Zowie, is shot by his stepdad, Gus, Clancy Brown, so he buries him in the burial ground. It comes back as a zombie dog, kind of like the cat Church in the first movie. Then the dog kills Gus. They bury Gus. He comes back. We see a lot more zombies in this one than there was in the first movie. And it's just a blast. This movie's a lot more fun. It's probably more entertaining. The first one's definitely way better. Definitely way better. It's more sophisticated. It's scarier. This one's more gory, more over the top. Definitely more out there. It's definitely not as good as the first at all. It's, but it's highly entertaining nonetheless. A lot of people don't like it. They didn't think it was a good follow-up, but I love it. I could watch it over and over. It has some really good parts. I would say check it out. If you're a fan of the original, check it out. It's not really a continuance of the first story, though it does reference the Creeds a few times. It's all new characters this time. But I would definitely recommend it. It's got some good scenes. But, I think that's all I'd like to add. That's about it. It's Pet Sematary 1 and 2. Comes highly recommended for me. Definitely check them out. Especially the first one. That's really what this video was all about, was the first movie. But the sequel's pretty good too. It's a decent follow-up. Of course, nowhere near as good as the original, but... And the original's not really one of my favorite movies. I wouldn't really put it in my top 10, but it's still really good. It's one of the better Stephen King adaptations, I think. It's actually pretty faithful to the book. There are a few changes. Gage was a kind of a vulgar little evil child in the book when he came back. He was really said a lot of really vulgar and graphic things. He had a potty mouth on him. They don't really do that in the movie. What I always wonder is how he's so perfectly intact. Like, he was mowed down by a huge truck. Wouldn't he be like, more mangled up on? He just got like a scar on his forehead. That's about it. But whatever. I guess they didn't want to make it too disturbing. With a young child. Still can't remember that kid's name. I'll think of it literally as soon as I click the stop button. I'll think of what his name is. I love these movies. There's a lot of other Stephen King adaptations I'd like to get to eventually, but definitely The Shining, definitely It, a few others, but sorry, I got an email. Pet Sematary is definitely one of the better ones. So let's check it out. Miko Hughes, that's his name. Miko Hughes. Miko Hughes plays Gage Creed. At least I thought of it before I hit the stop button. Alright, guys, that's my review of Pet Sematary. Thank you for watching. I'm Hellhound, and until next time, keep it horror.